In order to achieve their dream as a main supplier of manpower in the motorsports industry in Malaysia, now the Automotive College recruits almost 1,000 students to make sure that it can supply manpower to the automotive industries in Malaysia. Nushila Musabah Kamal for Hello Malaysia.
And that's what we're going to talk about, which is motorsports development in Malaysia. And obviously, for the past 10 years, Malaysia has been enjoying the status of being one of the top players in motor racing activities. However, how will all that change, and how much will that change in the midst and also in the face of an economic downturn? Joining me in the studio to discuss all these issues, of course, the CEO of Sepang International Circuit, Mr. Razlan Razali. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. You're just back from Indonesia.
Yes,
I understand.
I did. We just did our Formula One roadshow last weekend at Jakarta. We were there for the first time at the Java Jazz, where over 70,000 ticket holders went to watch the festival. And they're very receptive to Formula One in Malaysia, and it's great.
So things are moving actually, yeah, in the motor sport world?
Well, for F1, in terms of F1, it has been a good response because we registered something like 126,000 spectators last year. But yes, it's not a secret that this year we may face a little bit of a slowdown, especially from the regional spectators. But the local spectators, the Malaysians, they are buying tickets more than last year. I think it's also because of all the activities that we have planned for this year, which is different from the last 10 years.
And I'm sure Alex Yoong, who's right next to you here, will tell us more. Alex Yoong is now the CEO of Axel Motorsport. Wow, that's a company you've had for some time?
No, it's a new company that we set up last year.
And what is the company focusing on?
We're focusing on, it's a motor racing team, but its main focus is trying to develop the business of motorsport. And we're involved in a bit of manufacturing, a bit of retailing on the back of the race team. And it's been a lot of fun. You know, I've also been involved with A1 Team Malaysia for the last 4 years. And you know, it's nice just to be here in Malaysia for an extended period, because I've been racing around the world, traveling a lot. So it's nice to spend some time here and just focus on trying to build this up.
So it's more interesting to do business or to go around racing?
Well, it's at the moment for me, it's definitely much more interesting to do business, because you're actually growing something. You know, you're actually trying to start from scratch with something. And it's a subject that's very close to my heart, and it's something I know quite well. So I'm trying to replicate what I've seen around the world and replicate it here in Malaysia.
So not necessarily because you're making more money in your business right now compared to when you were racing. Well, that also gives you a lot of income, doesn't it?
Well, I think the money side driving is a lot easier. It's an easier mechanism for making money. Not necessarily, you don't necessarily make more money, but it's an easier way of doing it. And it's something I've grown up knowing, so it's something I know. So it's doing the business side is taking me out of my comfort zone, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, all right. And right next to Alex is one Kamarul Zaman, one Yaakob, who is the director of this the Automotive College, which is TOC. Now, when was the TOC set up?
We started our operation in 2004, but in actual sense, we started our intake of students in 2005. So after we received our approval from the MOHE, and we are basically involved in automotive training.
Right.
That's it. We are very focused.
How many students do you have right now?
Right now we have about 900 students.
900 students?
Yes.
And Alex goes over and meets the students frequently?
Well, not frequently, but when I first heard of TOC, I went straight over and said, can I steal some of your students? Because
she did.
Why? Well, okay, to be mechanics.
Yeah, because motorsport mechanics are very hard to find, and they are very expensive.
So the demand is there?
Absolutely.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah. And for SIC, how do you feel about the development of motorsports here?
It's good. It's good for the local teams to engage our locals to participate in the racing teams.
Right.
Because, for example, when I was running a team last year for the Merdeka Endurance, it's very, very hard to find good Malaysian mechanics, engineers, and I had to use a foreigner, and they're very expensive. And I've seen with my own eyes when I went for the 24 hours Dubai Endurance, where TOCs had their students running a Malaysian team, and they're just as good, in fact better than some of the mechanics I've seen. Yeah. So it's good for the local teams. Yeah.
Is that right, Alex? Did you find
Yeah,
that just as
absolutely.
good?
There are actually a number of good mechanics, Malaysian mechanics, traveling around the world, racing, especially from A1 Team Malaysia, and they're all as good as any mechanic you can get in Europe. It's just there's so few of them, and people don't realize that you can make good money as a motorsports mechanic. But the first step is you got to go to and get trained the correct way, because otherwise your learning curve is just so slow. So getting trained the proper way is a very good way of shortening that learning curve.
No, this is actually a good point to bring up. After all, we do need skilled labor in the country, and this is one way of approaching it. Was it that issue that actually intrigued you to also set up the TOC?
Very much so, yes. And we feel that Malaysians are basically easy to train. We have our basic...
we do have some visuals now running on TV. Can you explain to the viewers what is this?
This is one of the practical classes that we conduct at TOC. And we believe in our training program, 70% of our curriculum is basically hands-on. And only 30% goes towards theoretical studies. And our philosophy is very simple. If you know how to do it, you must be able to do it right. Yeah.
So these are parts of the car, I would expect.
Yes, these are the components that are one of the components that is you find in any car, for that matter. Yeah. And I think, Alex, correct me if I'm wrong. These are the air conditioning unit, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
I know race cars. I'm afraid I don't know.
I don't believe you, Alex.
There's a compressor there.
I don't believe you don't know the inside of a car.
But it's very important, especially in motor racing. If the mechanics make a mistake, you could end up costing a driver it's his life. So the teams take it very seriously. You need mechanics with good hands. If you don't have good hands, you don't have good practical experience, and you make mistakes, you're out of the team straight away. I mean, I've had a humongous crash at 250 kilometers per hour because a mechanic didn't tighten the brake nipple on the caliper before.
When was this?
Oh, this is in Fuji, 2000, about 8 years ago. So it's you can't afford any mistakes.
What, he forgot to you're saying tighten?
Well, the nipple on the caliper was not tightened properly. So you went out the first lap. In Fuji, it's a very long straight. You're doing 270 kilometers per hour, and you have complete brake failure. So it is a problem, and that's why training is vital.
So it's a good thing that nothing really drastic happened to you over there. Did you consider yourself lucky?
Lucky or unlucky, whichever way you want to look at it, I guess.
Total brake failure.
Yeah, total brake. But it's. I mean, that's happened in Japan, which has a very advanced motorsports culture with very good mechanics. It's the top Formula Nippon team in Japan. So you're working with the best. So it is. The best do make mistakes, and generally here the guys we have training up all have excellent attitudes. You generally find the attitudes great. It's just getting the opportunity to improve themselves is difficult. They need to get the practical experience, and after they get the practical experience, get into the race teams, and from those race teams, if possible, go abroad and work with the foreign teams as well, get more experience.
So what our boys lack probably now is experience. Would that be it? What do you think, Chitwan?
Well, if you are talking about taking a fresh graduate, yes, experience will be the key factor. But what we would like to emphasize here is very important for us to make sure that we ground our youngsters, our students that go through our training program with the right skills, with the right attitude, and with the sense of professionalism. That is critical.
Okay.
Because, yeah.
So these are one of the workshops, I imagine?
These are what we call, in the college, we call our pits. Yeah. Is it because we have arranged our classes in such a way that...
Looks very clean. It's not what I imagine like a
Very much
workshop
so,
would look like. Yeah?
This is something that we need to inculcate in our people. Yeah. Because to us, once you graduate with a TOC qualification or diploma in this case, yeah, we will inculcate, or we will by then we will have inculcate into the student that, you know, this is a respectable job. Yeah, and you are not associated as being a grease monkey. I mean, that is the derogatory word that is being used very often to mechanics, to describe mechanics. But once they go through our program, I mean, they are being
then
taught.
They have status, they have a diploma, they have a certificate
right.
to show.
And yeah.
So you're teaching attitudes as well, aren't you?
Very much so,
Because,
yes.
I mean, you just made a good comment, the workshop looks clean. If you go to Europe or Japan and you see a race team's workshop, it's spotless. Whereas if you, I suppose, you go down to the local workshops here in Malaysia, you know, they're dirty, they're filthy. It's just the attitudes. So if you trained in the right manner and you know to look after the tools and have a sense of professionalism, you own the work you're doing, sense of pride, you take that on, and that attitude just, you know, it brings you further and further.
Right. Good point, actually, Alex. Now, Razlan, we don't want to leave you too quiet for too long. Now, well, it has been exactly 10 years now, am I right?
11th year this year, yeah.
Since the opening of Sepang International Circuit. Perhaps you could share with us some of the success or significant milestones that you have gone through in the history of SIC.
Well, it definitely put Malaysia in the world map when it comes to motorsport, especially F1 being the pinnacle of motorsport. It gets a lot of attention, and F1 is the third most watched motorsport event behind World Cup and Olympics, and definitely puts Malaysia in the world map for the last 10 years. You go everywhere in the world, when they mention about Sepang or Malaysia, they know exactly where we are as compared to before this. We are also the first modern circuit to be built, and flowing to our success, we have seen the development of Shanghai, Bahrain with the improved modern circuits. We are labelled the world's hottest race because of our weather, but this year the timing has changed to 5 p.m. so it's cooler.
Which is on April 5th, right?
Yeah, April 3rd, 4th. 3rd to 5th, yeah.
Okay, 3rd to 5th.
And we are now labelled the first twilight race. So it's neither day or neither night, so we are in between. Okay, so we start at 5 in the afternoon or in the evening. So it's cooler for the spectators. It's nicer, it's more comfortable.
So more people will come as well.
But it's going to be a totally different ball game for the drivers. Maybe Alex can correct me on that, because every year they face the same kind of climate, hot and all that. But now it's cooler, so all the characteristics will be different.
Is it?
Absolutely, I think so. I think it's a great idea, and I know there's so much more planned this year for the race. And having an evening, you know, the drivers, the spectators, the teams will want to stay on. You know, there's a concert going on, so they want to watch the concert. Jamiroquai is playing, I believe. So it's definitely a good idea in my view.
All right. We need to take a short break right now, and of course we'll come back with more on motorsports development in Malaysia. Stay with us on Hello Malaysia.
Okay, I'm doing a DAT, the Diploma in Automotive Technology. Okay, so I knew the TOC through the educational fair. Actually, I come from Sabah and Sabah Sandakan. So my parents are operating a workshop. So I was already used to the workshop environment since I was young already. Basically, I wish to know more about automotive technology, not only through the experience, but I also want to know the modern cars nowadays. They are equipped with all the electronic things control. So in order to help my parents to expand their workshop, So TOC offer actually a very good facility to study about automotive technology. This is why I choose TOC.
That's actually one of the students at TOC, the Automotive College, and which is situated at Petaling Jaya in Chek Wan, Kamarul. Looking very young, the student over there. Are they mostly passionate about what they do? Are they interested in this field of technical and also mechanics, and therefore they've been there, or how is that like?
I can tell you this, most of the time we conduct interviews on the prospective students. When they come with their parents, our marketing people, our admission people will conduct interviews with them. And most of the time they are...
Do they have a test to sit for? Because that's what
they answer a set of questionnaires that we put across to them. Yeah.
Okay.
So from there we can really determine the level of commitment or interest or passion that they have inside them. And these are basically very young. They are after Form 5, you know. Most of them are 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, and they go through our program, which is only 2.5 years. By the time they graduated, they are hardly 21.
Right. So for those who have graduated, how many, or is it still too early, right?
No, we already had our first graduation ceremony in 2007. Yeah? We have graduated about 200 students.
And how many have been absorbed into the job market?
All of them.
All of them?
Yeah.
All of them?
They have been offered jobs even before they graduated.
Right.
Yeah.
And those were how many who graduated?
Right now we have more than 300.
More than 300?
Yes.
So, and they are working in what sort of environment?
Mostly motor-related industries. They are with the most of them are with the after sales. Yeah? Either as the service advisor, but mostly on the technical side, you know, after sales service.
Yeah. Would you say it's difficult, Alex, to actually study something like this?
Good question. I don't think so. It's certainly, I mean, like anything, if you want to do it well, I think what you put in is what you get back in something like this. And it's a good program.
But a lot of people are saying, well, it's something, you know, mechanics, you know, they learn hands-on training, you know, that kind of thing. You don't have to go to a college to study what you're doing, you know. So how would you look at that?
We have to change that perspective. I think it's just a matter of how you look at things. The way we train our people, if they go through their lifelong study, you know, they go through the grind of working in a workshop to acquire the necessary skills. I mean, I've got to define what is the right skills here. Yeah? Because if you go through the normal process of learning, that's what most of the mechanics in this country have encountered before, they may not get the right skills or the right training, because nowadays cars are basically highly electronicized, if I may use the word, Alex. So if you go to any mechanics that doesn't have the right tools or the right training, you may not be satisfied with the outcome of the work done on your car.
Right.
So at TOC we emphasize on very much on hands-on training. That is the uniqueness of our program. And like I said before, only 30% of our curriculum covers the theoretical part. 70%
and the rest is hands-on.
Basically training and hands-on.
Right. Now, Razlan, how does this actually contribute positively, if otherwise, to SIC?
Well, for SIC, we organize a lot of events, and of course the big ones are F1, MotoGP, Merdeka Endurance, and Asian Festival Speed, A1GP, and so on. And we use a lot of volunteers, we use a lot of personnel. For F1 alone, we're looking at close to nearly 4,000 people. Volunteers, marshals, medical, you name it. So we need skilled people. So I think, and Cik Wan was saying, in terms of practical training, I think Sepang is the ideal place for them to train. And furthermore, they offer race management, motorsport management, and where else can you apply those skills except at our events. You know, rather than take someone from outside who has no other kind of training. So we rather get people from TOC who already have the basic, and at the same time they can use our events as part of training, part of contribution to their credit at the end of the course or whatever.
But you have your events not all the time, so would you consider taking somebody who hasn't graduated yet but has?
Yeah, we can use them. We can use them
training?
at our smaller events like the Malaysian Super Series. It's a local series that we still need the same number of marshals, same number of race controls people. There's a lot of areas that we can complement TOC. To help their students achieve whatever course that they want to get at the end of the day. Yeah.
So for the upcoming Formula 1 F1 race, which is going to be held in Sepang, that's in April. Yeah. How is Alex going to participate in this? Tell us. Alex.
Can I drive the safety car?
You're commentating.
No, that's true. Actually, I forgot. I'm doing some commentary work with ESPN Star Sports for the year, so I'll be doing quite a bit of Formula 1 work with them.
So what do you think that is going to be the main attraction in Sepang this year?
The main attraction is going to be the racing, because it's all new regulations this year, so all the cars are new, the tyres are new, so there's most likely going to be a shake-up of the running order. I still expect teams like McLaren and Ferrari to be up there, but I'm expecting some surprises, especially at the beginning of the year as teams are getting to grips with how to use the tyres, because some teams will be using the tyres too hard. There should be a lot more overtaking as well. They've changed the regulations so that it's easier to overtake, it's easier to follow another car in its slipstream.
It looks funny as well.
Yeah, that's the only one thing. They look a bit ugly.
Yeah.
But I think the racing should be very good this year.
And looking at the revenue that's being generated year after year, you know, there's a lot of talk, and in fact, it is official. It comes out in the papers that you guys make millions of ringgit.
Oh, wow.
Is that going to be the same this year around?
Put it this way, F1, if you look specifically at to F1, it's more of a government tool to market Malaysia. Okay, purely just as that. Okay, it's a lot of money to stage F1. Directly to SIC, if you include all the costs, all the promoters' fees and whatever, directly to SIC we do not make money. But it's more of the spin-offs the country gets from tourism. The number of tourists that comes to Malaysia during this period, and during F1, and then the number of days they stay after or before. Okay, so F1 is basically a marketing platform or marketing advertising tool for the government to promote Malaysia, to promote tourism. It's a destination. Okay, so for SIC, it's very expensive, and to get the return specifically from F1 is very, very
But what about
hard.
sponsorship? Alex was mentioning something about this.
Yeah, I mean, motorsports is a business, of course. It's first and foremost a business first before a sport in many ways. And it's, if you, Razlan was saying, was you can get some income from tickets and sales, but most of it is sponsorship dollars. Especially for me, I'm a race team owner, and most of it is sponsorship money. So it's very important that we give good value for our sponsors. You know, we're competing against other sports and other forms of media promotion, like say TV commercials or billboards on the highway, and we have to give good value for our sponsorship. I think most people don't realize how good a vehicle motor racing is for promoting your brand. I mean, that's why you see such big brands in Formula 1 who use Formula 1 to promote themselves. But even just locally, we make very good progress. My touring car team is a championship that runs regionally around Malaysia, Thailand and Indonesia. And last year on ESPN Star Sports and other forms of media, we generated over $60 million worth of exposure for the team and our sponsors.
$60 million.
And you try and work the ROI on that. You know, it's pretty. We're very happy with it, and and we need to get that message out there because it is a very good way of getting your brand across to the consumer.
Exactly. Now, how are your students contributing to the race this time around?
Well, we would like to see it this way. We are providing the participants in the race with Malaysian trained human resource, human capital. Yeah, so that is, to us, is very critical. Yeah, and we do see that, you know, going forward. Yeah, we would like to see our students, our TOC students, working with teams all over the world. And to us, there is a form of export of our services, and that would be to add further to the income from the industry. That is some sort of a revenue to the country, yeah, in form of remittances probably.
If I just may add to that, you know, we have, if you look at the region, you have Korea coming up, the Korea circuit coming up in next year. You have India in 2011. So this is a great opportunity for TOC to start talking to people like them, because at the end of the day, a new circuit, they need people. Okay, and this is where, like Yoong saying, we can export our technical know-how, our knowledge to people, to the circuit, the new circuits.
So this will be one platform to promote all that, and of course to seek approval from others in the region.
I mean, even for Sepang, although Singapore had their first F1 last year, I mean, they still come to us to use us as a training ground for their marshals and so on. Again, you know, TOC could offer the same kind of service because, again, they are in racing management, and they have the skill set, they have the infrastructure, know-how, and so on.
So take a break right now, and we'll come back for more, of course, to talk about some of the insightful activities that's going to be on in Sepang soon. Just stay with us on Hello Malaysia.
Our approach is skill-based. Kita provide a very strong technological automotive foundation. How to do it is our student dengan instructor ratio is very low. Kalau praktikal, satu cikgu 10 orang. So good supervision in that sense. We are very skill-based, meaning we ajar theory dan straight away pergi pada kereta. So basically it's an applied base in that sense. Our assessment is very consistent in that sense. Every week they ada exam, so they got to achieve a standard that required by industry. And then our passing mark is 80%, meaning most of our students are 80% efficient, so they are more relevant in the market standard in that sense. High sekali, basically we taught in English. The industry is practicing English, so the boys can manage themselves independent in industry. So itulah beberapa pendekatan yang kami fikir kami a bit unique in that sense.
Unique, according to one of the instructors at TOC, and they have 900 students over at their college right now. Yes. How many instructors in Cik Wan?
At the moment, we have about 30 over instructors.
Enough to go around? Enough
for the moment. Yeah, we are.
How do you select these instructors? Do they have to be really seasoned, people in that field of mechanics and stuff like that?
We have a very high standard of required for our instructors. Yeah? They must not only have the necessary prerequisite qualification, like a degree or master's, but they must also have the experience in working in the industry, whether as an instructor, whether as a lecturer, or whether as a technician.
So qualify in terms of just experience, or they also have paper qualification?
Well, paper qualification is a necessity. Yeah, we demand at least a bachelor's degree for our instructors, because our program is only a diploma program at the moment. Yeah, so
any plans to make it a degree program and further?
Not in the near future, because I think developing what we are doing now, going through what we are doing now, we have more than enough on our plate to chew. Yeah, so the demand for you'll be amazed at the sort of demands that we get for our graduates. Yeah? We cannot cope up with the production at the moment. Yeah? And I think we foresee that given even 5 years time or even 10 years time, we will still have the demand for this particular set of graduates.
Right. Yeah. So if future certainly looks bright. I mean, even with the motor industry collapsing in parts of the world, you know, the big three and all that, you know, GM, General Motors and Daimler and Chrysler, it doesn't look too bleak. In fact, if we're talking about making Sepang an international or a regional hub for international events to be held here. Now, what are the prospects for that? Because notably we have, like Alex was saying, the facilities are there, you know, it's all in place and it's of international standard, but there's just not enough quality events that's being brought to Sepang. So what we're going to be doing about that?
It's like we have the hardware, but we don't really have the software. Okay, so we need to develop on that. We need to, for SIC, we need to be more than just a circuit. We can contribute to development in terms of motorsport. Like we were talking just now, if we can't put a driver, a next F1 driver or next MotoGP driver, and at the same time it's not a measure of success anyway, we can put the brains behind it. You know, that's where TOC comes from. You know, you can put the engineers, the mechanics, whatever behind a successful team. So I think SIC can complement to that development, and we like the circuit to be more than just a circuit. It has to be a combination of circuit and education in that way. And I think if you put these two elements together, it can be a good package, and it could be a leader in its field in the region.
Alex, what do you think? What are your views to make Sepang an international or regional hub for international events?
We, okay, for the local motorsports, we need more help with organizers and promoters to stage, I suppose, more local motorsport events and more teams to take part. But for me, for motorsports to be truly successful, we need to develop the cottage industry and the manufacturing sector especially, which is obviously something TOC would be involved because they supply the labor. But you know, most of motorsports related manufacturing is all in the Europe, some in America, some in Japan, little bits and pieces in Australia and other places, but mostly Europe. Now we have the technology, the infrastructure to produce high quality goods, and we have relatively cheap labor, you know, and we can grow in that area, so that's one area I would really like to see start taking off. And with SIC's help and Motorsport Association Malaysia's help and all the other small players like ourselves and teams, we can hopefully do that and develop a hub around SIC with all these little manufacturing capabilities as well as the educational side. So we're not just taking care of human capital, but we're also taking care of manufacturing and promotions
that's
and all that sort of bit.
Actually to go into to get a more how do you say, a better grip of things in that area. But given the you know, the way things are going now in the economy, is that going to be a setback in any way? Razlan, what do you think?
I think it will be a setback to all industries if you really look at it. But for us, at the same time, it's also a good opportunity. You know, there's opportunity to this as well, whereby in terms of building new facilities, this is a good time to build, because the prices, people are looking for work and looking for projects to build. And almost immediately after Formula One, we are looking to enhance our facilities. So we are proceeding with that plan to build a new support paddock, a proper racing center with all the kind of facilities that Alex was just talking about, and a permanent facility for local and regional team to be based in Sepang. Okay, so we believe it's also an opportunity for us to plan for all that, given the current economic situation. But in terms of participants, you know, we still have a large number of locals and foreigners participating in our series. So I think it's still growing, and at the same time, corporate sponsors is hard to come by at this stage, but I also believe
how
it's
many have you had so far?
Well,
we're trying to promote this on Hello Malaysia.
Yeah, well, I think it's also opportunity for us.
Yeah.
I agree, Datuk Razlan. We are struggling to get corporate sponsorship, but I think with this downturn, sponsors and companies have to be more clever with how they promote their brands. And like I said, we generated a huge amount.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to get clever. It's not, you slap a sticker on a poster on a billboard, it costs you, I don't know, 60 grand a month. It's static, with the racing, it captures people's imagination. They are moving billboards. You can get very good exposure. You just look at what Formula 1 teams do, how they leverage off motorsport sponsorship. So I think in this economic downturn, as long as we in the industry are clever about it, I think we can change perceptions, because I don't think our industry has been operating at its full potential. Mm-hmm. So even though we're having a downturn, I think there's room for us to grow, and I think we can actually grow in this downturn.
Oh, it's actually a good time also to reflect and to move forward. We need to take another short commercial break. Time flies. We'll be right back on Hello Malaysia.
My future goal, actually, we're right now we're taking UH program bridging, which is 1 year in TOC, and we'll be continuing in UK and after finishing my course, my ambition is being an automotive engineer. Yeah, actually, our diploma is mostly hands-on, but if you just stop at diploma level, you'll be mostly in the level of technician, service advisor. But if you pursue to degree, you could go higher. Actually, it's not that easy. You need to really work hard. You need to put on more effort. If you just, but the diploma in TOC, they really just what do you call that? They get us ready, the core subjects, everything that they get ready for.
Sounds like an elaborated career path there. Over there, Encik Wan, can you explain to us, for someone who's interested in crafting a career in the motorsport industry, how far can they go?
It all depends on the individual, how far they really want to go. I can relate you a student of ours, just a prior graduation interview that I had with him. So I asked him, what are you going to do? What are your plans? He said, I've got a few offers with a few motor companies. They want me to work as their technicians or service advisor. But I have my own plans. So I said, what are your plans? He was very straightforward. I plan to go and further my study in the UK. So he told me that he's
just like that student over there just now.
He's just planning, But this guy has already graduated,
and he's gone there.
He has gone there. And what do you plan to do with your career? I said, no. After I graduated, I want to work in Europe. I want to go.
Not here.
Not here. Not here. So I want to work in Europe. I want to work with the motorsports team.
Okay.
So he was very clear as to where he was going.
Probably to get more experience.
Better pay as well.
Better pay, yeah? Oh, so does it pay well? Does it actually pay well, Alex?
Well,
yeah, I can do.
Yeah. He was telling me that, I hope to earn about $200,000 a month. A year, sorry. Sorry.
200,000
$200,000 a year.
Well, it's a little bit ambitious, but certainly possible.
But I mean, coming back to your question, you were saying how far can you really push your career? It depends on the individual. And that boy, was a perfect example of what you can really do with your career if you really put your mind to it.
But if all of them think that way, they want to go and work in Europe, then nobody's going to work here.
Well,
it's up to us to make sure that we have quality here, so that they will work here. The more interesting jobs at the moment are in Europe, because that's where the industry is fully developed. It's growing. It's still growing here, and as motorsports does progress here, the local motorsports, that is, not just the top-tier Formula 1, Super GT that comes to SIC. But as the local motorsports grows and develops and we have more opportunities here, they'll come back, for sure. Because Malaysia is such a great place to live.
I was meaning to ask you, Alex, now, as a team owner, what has been your greatest challenge thus far here in Malaysia?
Oh, that's a question I'd rather answer after the cameras were off.
No, you don't get that.
The biggest challenge actually is obviously trying to convert sponsors to come into motorsports, because a lot of companies are new to the idea of motorsports, and motorsports is not just paying to have a sticker on a car. You have to know how to leverage off it. That's where you get the true value for the sponsorship. Like doing programs. For example, say TLC is a sponsor of mine. On my car, I go around and I give talks about how good TLC is, and leverage it off that way. And they use the fact that they actually have the mechanics on our race team. They use that at that point of view. It's also like, for example, if you're a car manufacturer like say Proton with us, we have showroom. They don't just sponsor the car, but we bring the race car to the showrooms, and we'll try and get them to point of sales points and try and get some excitement about the brand, and just do programs off them that kind of just to point more attention to what they're trying to do.
In fact, you yourself, being in this field, actually do a lot of promotions as well for SIC, am I right? Or is it not enough, Razlan?
Well,
but by Alex being here, it's already...
yeah. I mean, he's still an icon for Malaysians.
It is,
most Malaysians,
he needs no introduction, actually.
Yeah, that's right,
So...
I mean, just getting involved... one year already, and only 1 year in F1, and he's still the glamour boy.
Yeah, very funny, but I think it's an obligation as well, though. I mean, we're all very passionate about this industry. Everyone that gets in motorsports is passionate about it. It's just the way it is. It's a fun industry, and we all support each other.
To keep it going, it has to generate some income.
Yes. There has to be a business at the end of the day. I mean, passion can only last so much. You have to generate it into a business. So that's a tricky part. What's the right formula? We're still working on it.
So where do you see yourself in future? Perhaps let's not go too far, but perhaps a year from now.
SIC?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, we've gone beyond our first 10 years. We're going to the new decade. SIC should... I'm trying to position SIC to not only be a venue for motorsport. It has to be a multifaceted venue. Not only for motorsport, for other events as well.
For example?
We're looking at concerts, we're looking at exhibitions, car launches, and even weddings. And funny enough, 3 days ago I received an email from an individual who queries how to do a wedding at SIC. So for me, SIC is like a huge ballroom that you can do anything that you want. All kind of events. So that's where I'm trying to position SIC, and at the same time to create life in SIC by hopefully one day we have education, a campus in SIC. We like to build hotels, entertainment center, or duty-free zone, or proper racing facilities, free trade zone or something like that. Yeah, that's something that
That's a big scoop for us, actually.
Yeah.
But we'll come back and find out more. We'll take another commercial break right now, and we'll be right back on Hello Malaysia. Do stay with us.
Ku masih ingat hari itu. Dia menarik perhatianku. Wangian kesukaanku membuatku bahagia dan tertawan. Mungkinkah ini detik bermulanya? Satu kenangan yang istimewa mengabadikan kenangan anda. Treasure Eternal.
issues, latest headlines, illuminating visuals. Everything right and now on News at Bernama TV.
The show must go on.
Show them how we do it.
I'm a lot better at saying goodbye than you.
Why are you saying goodbye?
And obviously there'll be more exciting things happening at the Sempang International Circuit. Of course, beginning with F1, and Datuk Razlan Razali, CEO of Sempang International Circuit, you'd like to tell us more about what's happening about F1 coming up on the 3rd of April.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of activities planned out for F1 this year as compared to the last 10 years. Beginning on the 2nd of April, for the first time we have a F1 fun card with F1 teams, drivers and support drivers. We have invited students from universities, colleges to participate in this event. It's not every day that you get to race with the F1 teams and drivers at the go-kart event on Thursday. On the same day, for the first time as well, we are organizing a official welcome cocktail with the F1 drivers, with Formula 1 management and so on. This for our corporate sponsors, our title sponsors and so on. And we also have, for the first time in our history, an autograph session with all the F1 drivers from Friday, Saturday and Sunday. We're giving out exclusive passes for F1 Team Garage Tour. I think like 4 passes per team. That's up for grabs. That's never been done before. It's really an experience that money cannot buy. And again, we offer an opportunity for ticket holders to stand a chance to win a Mazda RX-8. Okay, as it's a new thing that we have planned this year. And of course, at the track we have concerts, we have DJs playing, and to cap it off after the race, we have Jamiroquai performing for the first time in Malaysia after the race at the helipad.
Sounds expensive what you're doing over there.
Sounds
really expensive what you're doing over there.
What we're doing is that we're giving more value for ticket holders as compared to previous years. Okay, we want people to enjoy not only just motorsports but other activities as well. You know, it's becoming more of a carnival, a more family-oriented weekend rather than just purely motorsports.
But are Malaysians generally attracted and interested in motorsport?
I think so, definitely. I think if you go down to the local coffee shops, it's football and Formula 1 is the thing that they discuss the most.
And of course, if they see Alex Yoong, they go like, wow, he's that race car driver.
Yeah, I just wish they'd say, wow, this is race car driver, I want to buy you a coffee.
All right, Encik Wan, where do you see the college heading to in terms of its development, and are you offering any other extended courses and also, you know, diplomas?
Yeah. Next week we'll be launching our latest diploma program that is called Diploma in Automotive, Diploma in Motorsports Technology. Sorry, and well, that is one of the few programs that will be offering
Diploma in Motorsport Technology.
Right? We'll be offering a few more programs, but it is very much in being developed right now.
All right.
Yeah, but moving forward, as far as TOC is concerned, we see there is a lot of technological challenges that we have to really meet. Yeah, because you know the auto industry is forever evolving. You know, you're talking about the electronics in a car. It will change. It will be upgraded.
How fast does it change, actually, Alex?
6 months.
Yeah, the technology.
Very quickly.
6 months.
Yeah.
Especially because of Japan or because of Europe. Where is this ever-changing technology coming from most of the time?
Formula 1 is Formula One is like it's a battle. It's like war. It's like these teams are constantly at war. They work 24 hours a day. The wind tunnels have 24-hour shifts going, so they're making models, and then they work during the day. They're in the wind tunnel during the day. They don't just make one model and test it and then go away and make another model. It's continuous development, so that the wind tunnels use 24 hours, and the guy making models 24 hours works night shift, works day shifts. The development is phenomenal in Formula One. As soon as you stop for a second, you go backwards.
Right, so that is why it's really important as well for you to keep up with all this TOC.
Very much so. And I think we have developed a strategy whereby we try to establish tie-ups with all the major motor companies in the world. And as of the moment, we have tied up with Honda.
Honda?
Yes, we have tied up with Fuji Citroen. And in fact, TOC is the center, training center for Fuji Citroen for the ASEAN region and Hong Kong.
And in tying up, what sort of expertise or experience or even positive factors that you obtain from all these tie-ups?
Normally, this tie-up entails a few things. Yeah, they will provide us with their technological expertise, and it is incumbent on us to provide our people during their training sessions to be trained in this latest technology. And mind you, France is one of the country which is in the forefront of the technological development in cars. And they have a few iconic names like the Peugeot, Citroen, Renault. And we are talking about rally. I'm sure the name Citroen is very familiar on everybody's lips.
Well, it's actually time to bring confidence back to the motor industry. And you know, I don't know about you guys, but I would see that looking at the way things are going, it doesn't look too bleak. Yeah. What do you think, Alex?
I think the future looks bright.
We've just got about 2 minutes more before our program ends. Perhaps, Razlan, you'd like to wrap up with, you know, some of their plans and also the future.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's relatively simple. Come to this year's Formula One. It will be definitely different from the last 10 years.
But the heat will be the same?
No, it will be cooler. We're starting at 5 and we have a huge party going on after the race on Sunday night.
Great.
Yeah, so make sure you apply leave early on Monday.
What is the highlight of the event, the entire event?
Of course, the highlight is the F1 race.
Of course.
Yeah, that's the biggest highlight for motorsport, and after that is the Jamiroquai concert.
And Alex, would you like to add anything to the race?
To the race? Well, just watch us on ESPN, I guess. Oh, no, sorry. Come over and watch the race better.
Okay, and in one?
We are very bullish. And I think even though there is a slowdown, economic slowdown, we believe that education is one sector that is rather inelastic. Yeah, and it's just a matter of the parents making the right choice for their...
And skilled labor, of course.
Exactly. And I think this is a right opportunity for us as a country to develop skills training. And I think that will pay dividends in the future. I believe so. And that's why TOC is here.
Great, thank you. We need to wrap up the show, and I had an insightful discussion. I hope you gentlemen did. Thank you so much for coming to Hello Malaysia in Cik Wan. In Cik Wan, Kamarul Zaman, who is the director of TOC. You'll know where to look for him at Petaling Jaya. That is where the college is. And of course, Mr. Alex Yoong, CEO of Excel Motorsport, and of course, Datuk Razlan Razali here as well, the CEO of Sepang International Circuit. Good luck in all that you do and your efforts, and we hope that you watching Hello Malaysia for the past 1 hour, you've learned a bit more about the motorsport industry and of course its development in Malaysia. I'm Anne Edwards. Thank you so much for joining us.